Welcome to today's webinar on improving school bus safety across New York. My name is Mark Levine, and I am the Deputy Director of your New York State Association of Counties. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule today to participate in this important webinar discussing the importance of school bus safety in our communities. Families across the state depend on a school bus to safely transport our children to and from school each day. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, students are about 70 times more likely to get to school safely when taking a school bus instead of traveling by car. However, they are still vulnerable to injury. An increasingly high number of motorists, too many, illegally pass stopped school buses, putting our school children at risk. As county leaders, we have a role in promoting public health and safety in our communities, and this is one way we can do that. But we don't have to do it alone. We have partners who are with us here today. This webinar will discuss New York State traffic laws designed to protect students who are getting on and off a school bus. Representatives from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee and the New York Association of Pupil Transportation will discuss how counties can help promote school bus safety in your communities. NYSAC thanks our sponsor of today's webinar, Transportation Safety Planning and Solutions Group, represented today by Executive Director and CEO Kate McBride, who will share a few brief remarks. Kate?
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kate McBride, President and CEO of Transportation Safety Planning and Solutions Group. I founded TSPS Group in 2018 to help assist the New York State school bus transportation system in safety and compliance. After seeing the state agency's audits throughout the years, I knew we could work together to do better. The New York State Comptroller School District Safety Report findings gave me concern. Findings that included insufficient monitoring and documentation, in particular with 19A and DMV, not all drivers being trained as required, and not all superintendents annually approving each driver. As transportation leaders, our number one job is to provide safe transportation to our most precious cargo, our students, by assisting companies in meeting all regulations. TSPS Group offers confidential partnerships with school districts, bus companies, and others to provide the services necessary for safety compliance with regulations set forth by DOT, DMV, SED, and FMCSA. With the current state of driver affairs, like driver and staffing shortages, now more than ever, the TSPS Group partnership is crucial. Many organizations are using staff to drive and need assistance with the completion of regulatory compliance and review. We are here to assist and guide you. I look forward to meeting everyone in the near future, and thank you to NYSAC for hosting this important conversation.
Thank you, Kate McBride. NYSAC greatly appreciates your support of today's webinar. We are fortunate to have two great speakers today. Our first is Aubrey Feldman, who is the Child Passenger Safety Program Coordinator for the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee out of the New York State DMV. Aubrey holds the position of Highway Safety Program Analyst 2 at the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee where she manages the child passenger safety and school bus safety programs for New York State. Aubrey obtained her master's in public health from the University of Albany in May of 2011 and earned her certification in public health later that year. In 2012, she became a certified health education specialist and officially began her work in the public health field. From 2012 to 17, Aubrey was involved in many health and safety initiatives, including biomonitoring research, organ and tissue donation, alcohol and substance use prevention and intervention, and most recently, traffic safety. Aubrey first entered into traffic safety at the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee in 2017 and served as the coordinator for the motorcycle safety and distracted driving programs. In April 2019, she was promoted to the child passenger safety and school bus safety coordinator, where she further earned her certification as a child passenger safety technician. Outside of work, Aubrey enjoys hiking, traveling, and spending time with her family and pets. Thank you for joining us today, Aubrey.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Aubrey Feldman, and I am the Child Passenger Safety and School Bus Safety Program Coordinator here at the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, also known as GTSC. Today, I'm just going to give a brief overview about the different grant programs that GTSC offers, as well as a basic overview of the New York State school bus safety laws. Next. So to start off, just a couple of school bus safety facts. According to the New York State Association of Pupil Transportation, or NIAPT, there are more than 50,000 school buses in New York State that transport over 2.3 million children to and from school each day. Unfortunately, an estimated 50,000 motorists pass stop school buses with red lights flashing each school day. Despite this, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, school buses are still the safest vehicle on the road, and students are about 70 times more likely to get to school safely when taking a school bus rather than traveling by car. Next. So GTSC came about as a result of the Highway Safety Act of 1966, which was an act to provide a coordinated national highway safety program through financial assistance to the states. And it had an overarching goal of reducing traffic crashes and deaths, injuries, and property damage. And we're able to accomplish this goal through our offering of 3 grant programs. Next. Our 3 different grant programs are child passenger safety, highway safety, and police traffic services. So for our child passenger safety, we offer mini grants to organizations throughout the state for up to 4 different schedules or programs. Our first is the permanent fitting station, which we call Schedule A. This is available for caregivers to call and schedule an appointment with a certified child passenger safety technician to have their car seat inspected and installed. Our second program, Schedule B awareness classes, which is for technicians to provide education to caregivers and organizations about child passenger safety. Our Schedule C, or check event program, is similar to a fitting station, but this does not typically require an appointment to be made. People can come out in public off of the street. You might see them in parking lots of Bye Bye Baby or fire station, and parents can just go in at their will and have their seats checked and inspected. And finally, our low-income education and distribution programs, or Schedule D programs, which are a little bit more intensive, and they consist of child passenger safety technicians providing 30 to 60 minutes of education to our low-income families, and then afterwards practicing hands-on installation with the car seat, and before the caregiver leaves, they're provided with a free seat for their child. Our second grant program is for general highway safety and can consist of 1 or several different highway safety priorities. Here are some priorities that I've listed on here, and you could also find in our strategic plan that's posted on our website. It can consist of motorcycle safety, distracted driving awareness, pedestrian or bicycle safety, teen driver safety, older driver safety, and of course, school bus safety. Finally, we have our police traffic services grants, which are specifically for our law enforcement partners. And this is for our officers to go out and conduct traffic enforcement on a number of violations, but particularly speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, the use of seatbelts, and passing a stopped school bus, which brings me to Operation Safe Stop. Next. Operation Safe Stop is an education and enforcement program designed to create awareness about the dangers of passing stopped school buses. GTSC does offer funding and support for our law enforcement agencies to go out and participate in this event. And this year, the event will be held on Thursday, April 28th, which is a little bit over a month from now. Next. So finally, I can focus on the school bus safety laws in New York State. So for specific information, you can refer to section 1174A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. And basically what this states is that it is illegal to pass a stopped school bus with red lights flashing. And this is true when a vehicle must stop when approaching from the front, overtaking from the rear, on public and private roads, on divided and multi-lane highways, and also while on school grounds. Red lights flashing means that the school bus is either picking up or discharging students, and a vehicle can only proceed when the school bus resumes motion or when signaled by the driver or a police officer to proceed. Next. Here you can see a list of the penalties for passing stopped school buses. For a first conviction, it can result in a minimum fine of $250 to a maximum fine of $400. A second conviction within 3 years can be a $600 minimum fine or a maximum fine of $750. And a third or subsequent conviction within 3 years can result in a minimum fine of $750 or a maximum fine of $1,000. All convictions can result in possible imprisonment. It's also important to know that overtaking a school bus can result in 5 points on your driver's license, and a third conviction of passing a stopped school bus within 3 years results in license revocation. Next. So if you'd like to learn more about demonstration programs or the school bus stop arm cameras, you can refer to section 1174-A in the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. This basically says that counties, cities, towns, or villages may adopt a local law or ordinance establishing a demonstration program imposing fines on the owner of a vehicle for passing a stopped school bus with red lights flashing. So essentially, this would allow school buses to be equipped with stop arm cameras. It's important to note that violations of 1174A go against the driver of the vehicle when pulled over by law enforcement, whereas violations of 1174-A go against the owner of the vehicle when the vehicle is captured by a school bus stop arm camera. Monetary penalties in these circumstances go to the owner of a vehicle and consist of $250 for a first violation, $275 for a second violation within 18 months, and $300 after a third or subsequent conviction within a period of 18 months. It's also important to note that violations of 1174A do not go on an owner's driving record, so there are no points that go on the license. And I believe Dave might go in a little bit more into the demonstration programs when he comes up. But that is it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aubrey. We have included in this webinar a couple of handouts, and one of the handouts is NYSAC's analysis of 1174-A. So this is another way that counties can get involved in promoting safety, school bus safety, is by adapting the local law that would enable your school districts to opt into this stop arm school bus safety program. Before we move on to our next speaker, I want to turn it over to Jeanette Stanziano, NYSAC's Director of Education and Research, to talk about how to ask questions at the end of this presentation. Jeanette?
Thanks, Mark. Just a couple of quick announcements. We are recording this webinar as we customarily do. It will be posted on the NYSAC website at nysac.org under webinars later today, probably about an hour after the presentation concludes. You will also find a PDF of the slide deck as well as the recording. If you have any questions today, please feel free to submit them in writing via your dashboard. Just type them in under your questions tab, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation for a brief Q&A at the end of the program. There's also a tab on your dashboard that says handouts. There are 2 handouts, one further information about our sponsor, as well as the handout that Mark just mentioned. You can download both of those documents directly from your dashboard to your computer. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Jeanette, and thank you for planning this webinar. Our next speaker is a longtime partner of NYSAC and a friend of NYSAC, David Christopher. He's the executive director of the New York Association of Pupil Transportation. And you know, our communities, our school districts are running into a number of challenges when it comes to finding school bus drivers and the increasing cost of gasoline. And David Christopher has been at the forefront leading the school districts in their pupil transportation. We appreciate David's participation today. David has been involved in the school transportation industry for over 35 years in both the public and private sectors. He is a SUNY Oswego graduate and is an approved SED trainer and DMV 19A examiner. David is also an advocate for school bus safety. David?
Thank you, Mark, and thank NYSAC for putting this on today. This is a very important topic that is something that our members are very concerned about. We represent the school districts and some of the private operators in New York State, all across the state, over 700 members who manage and provide the school transportation service to over 700 school districts in New York. So they're very passionate about this issue of illegal passing of stop school buses. And for years, we've done a lot of work in terms of collecting data and doing public outreach to try to address the problem. So thank you, Aubrey, for some of that information. One of the data points that she shared with you was the 50,000 illegal passings each school year. And that number is derived from some work that we've done over the years, collecting data from our members and annual surveys. And I have to tell you that based on some information that we're getting from the stop arm camera companies that are in place in New York, we believe that number is very low, which is disturbing. If you'd like to change the, there we go. Thank you, Jeanette. So these statistics, I think, are going to change as time goes by, as the stop arm camera programs continue to get in place across our state. For instance, I did some research with the Broome County stop arm camera program, and they're averaging, in the few months that they've been in operation, over 200 illegal passings per month, which is approximately 10 per school day, which is just hard to believe. And they're not alone. Some of the other stop arm camera programs are producing numbers that are just scary. And each one of those illegal passings is a threat to our children who are just trying to go to school. They're either boarding the bus or getting off the bus. And private motorists are failing to adhere to the stop arm on the school bus and the red lights. We consider that our drivers are trained very thoroughly on the loading and unloading process, and we consider that the moment of what we call the moment of truth, where all of the training and the processes that are put in place we hope are done correctly, so that student can get off that bus safely and either cross or just simply walk to his or her bus stop. In fact, it's not simply a crossing issue that we're concerned about. Many of the illegal passings more recently have occurred on the right side of the bus, believe it or not, where cars actually pass between the right side of the bus and the ditch line or the shoulder of the vehicle as the student steps off the bus. In fact, at our annual conference for the past 2 years, we've honored school bus drivers who have actually stopped children from getting off the bus into a path of a car that's passing by the door on the right side of the bus. So this is a very serious issue. Nationally, there's approximately 17 million illegal passings a year. And I'm sure many of you heard back in 2018, where actually 5 children were hit in one illegal passing incident in Indiana. So this is a very serious issue. In New York State, we've not had an illegal passing fatality since 1999, which occurred in New Rochelle, New York. However, we've had significant amount of what we call near misses. And we hear of those near misses in our trainings and our annual conferences, and of course, in the media. So, even though fatalities may not be happening in our state on a regular basis, it's only a matter of time before something terrible does happen, given the near misses that happen. So we applaud the stop arm camera programs that are in place. There's a handful across our state that are operational, and we're hopeful that counties, municipalities will take up the stop arm camera programs, because it's very important to provide education and enforcement of our laws that protect our kids as they board and disembark a bus. Next slide, please. So some of the reasons that people pass school buses, some of the things that we hear are distraction. Of course, that's a serious issue today because of cell phones. Everyone seems to have a cell phone, and it seems that when you're traveling the highways, you see a lot of people using it as they're traveling down the road. So, we think that's the primary reason. But this is we're in a busy society. Everyone's in a big hurry, and certainly, that's an issue as well. We have lack of knowledge of the laws in terms of passing stop school bus, and disregard for the law and the safety of children who are riding our buses. And believe it or not, many people tell us they didn't see the bus or they didn't see the red lights. And the industry is doing a lot to make the bus more visible. There's state-of-the-art lights now available that are very, very bright, and we hope that will help the situation. But this is really a situation, an issue that needs to be addressed with all partners who care about kids in our communities. Next, please. I won't spend a lot of time on the penalties because Aubrey covered that very well. I will say that the 1174A violations, the stop arm camera programs, again, we hope will come to fruition across our state and all communities. We think that that's an excellent program to bring education and knowledge to the communities about the seriousness of this issue. NIAPT advocated for stop arm programs prior to enactment by our legislature, and we felt that those programs would help the situation significantly. The data tells us that 98% of the people who are ticketed under a stop arm camera program do not get a second ticket. So they're effective. We hope that again that this is something that will address this serious issue. Next. Obviously, education is the key, and that's why we're here today. That's why we do Operation Safe Stop. Aubrey mentioned the partnership between NIAPT, the School Bus Contractors Association, state government, local police agencies, who get together once a year, this year, April 28th, 2022, to spread the word about the seriousness of the issue of illegal passing of stop school bus, and hopefully raise some awareness and heightened media attention to the issue. Unfortunately, in our society today, only those terrible things seem to hit the news. And, you know, school transportation, as was mentioned before, is a very safe form of transit back and forth to school for our kids. However, it only takes one terrible issue to ruin the reputation of the business and to make parents concerned about the safety of our business. So we want to certainly make sure we do everything we can to provide that safe ride and heighten the awareness about the seriousness of illegal passing of stopped school bus. And of course, the stop arm camera programs, we believe, do that, along with a significant amount of outreach and education. So next slide, please. So what can you do? First and foremost, we can all commit to a zero passing motorist fatality situation. And we can do everything that we can to try to get the word out in terms of the seriousness of this issue. When you see red lights on a school bus, stop. Yellow lights come on shortly before the bus comes to a stop. Drivers are trained to activate their yellow lights 300 feet before a stop. And when you see those yellow lights, that means slow down. Don't pass the bus to get around a bus. There's a tenuous relationship between school buses and the motoring public. People in private cars don't want to get stuck behind a school bus. It's quite that simple. We understand that. But always around a school bus, you will find children. And we want to make sure that we do everything that we can to protect those children. And that means drive cautiously and stop when those red lights come on. Learn the stop for school bus laws. We'll certainly do everything we can to increase the education of those laws to the motoring public. And our law enforcement partners will certainly help us by increasing targeted enforcement. Next slide, please. So I want to thank NYSEC and GTSC for doing this webinar. This is, again, an important topic. In a few weeks, we'll be doing Operation Safe Stop again to try to raise awareness, and hopefully, you know, we all working together, we can address this serious issue. Thank you.
Thank you, David Christopher. So NYSEC put this webinar on for a number of reasons. One is that, as David mentioned, the Broome County Stop Arm Camera Program has raised red flags for us. It continues to it continues to cite drivers who are passing stopped school buses to the tune of, as David mentioned, 200 citations per month. And they are doing an outreach campaign in the media and in communities and with school districts across the county, but they are still seeing numbers that are too high for our comfort. So we wanted to put this on and to help counties promote school bus safety. So, but there's also a lack of knowledge, as David said, about what the traffic laws mean. So one of the questions that we have is, for a 4-lane road, right? If there's a 4-lane road and the school bus is in the right lane and stopped with the camera, the stop arm down and the red lights flashing, is it still a violation if a car passes on the left-hand lane?
Yeah, I can answer that, Mark. In New York, motorists must stop in 4-lane highways, multi-lane highways, divided highways, 2-lane highways, whenever a school bus red lights are flashing. It's a little different in different states, but in New York, again, 2-lane highways, multi-lane highways with a paved center and a divided highway. Motorists must stop for that bus.
And those are motorists coming in both directions, right? So a 4-lane highway with a divider, or 4-lane road with a divider in the middle, and somebody's coming in the opposite direction, they still must stop, right?
That's correct, yes.
How about in a school parking lot or the driveways around a school where the school buses are stopped and waiting for the school to get out, or the school has just gotten out and the school buses are stopped? Can a car drive through the parking lot on the left side? Can they pass a school bus that's stopped for students coming onto the school bus at that point?
No, the law applies to that as well. It applies to, it specifically outlines or specifically mentions school roadways and BOCES roadways, so along with private roadways. So whenever those lights are on, cars have to stop.
I would remind attendees that they can write a question into the question panel of the webinar panel on the side of your dashboard. What can counties do today, or county leaders, county executives, county administrators, supervisors, and legislators do to help promote school bus safety in their counties?
Well, I think, again, I don't think that people go out of their homes in the morning with the intention of passing a stopped school bus. I think, again, there's a lot of elements to this, the distraction, people are in a hurry. Many people don't know the laws. Many people don't know that you have to stop on a divided highway or a multi-lane road. So I think a lot of education, such as what we're doing here today, outreach, Operation Safe Stop, is all very helpful to get the word out to the motoring public and communities that you must stop for a school bus when the red light's flashing. You know, our system is the safest system for children to utilize to get to and from school. I can't express that enough. 70 times safer than riding with mom and dad in the car. And sometimes because of that success, people lose track of the fact that danger does exist if we don't follow our processes and procedures and our laws. So again, outreach, education, continual awareness is very important. Children are unpredictable. And when they get off a bus, they don't always do what we want them to do. So it's up to us as adults, as we follow buses or we come across the stopped school bus on a highway, to act responsibly and follow the laws.
Thank you, David. Aubrey, what material do you have? Material that counties or county officials can use to help promote school bus safety in their communities?
We don't have any materials currently in the office, but some of what our grant partners, including NIAPT, have planned for in their grants is to develop educational materials. A popular thing that some grantees have done as well is coloring books for children to provide education for children on the dangers surrounding boarding and discharging a school bus. But that's one thing that we're looking to develop this upcoming year in-house, is some educational materials for school bus safety.
Great, thank you. And when you have those materials, if you could share them with us, and we'll get them out there to our county officials across the state so that they can get them out to their constituents and residents in their communities. How can county leaders help promote the Operation Safe Stop on April 28th? Is there a role for us to play in helping promote that?
I think sharing information, whether it be facts or promoting the event itself on social media, will be huge.
Yeah, I would agree. That would be a great step. Many school transportation operations across the state hold media events where they, talk about, school bus safety and, the threat of illegal passing. And it would be great if county leaders could participate in those events as well and show their support. I know that many that I have attended, there are certainly county leaders and law enforcement partners who do attend. And I think that, again, the partnerships that we can provide in terms of trying to get this problem resolved is very important to the solution.
Thank you. And for our part, NISAC will provide some information to our county officials as we approach that April 28th date so that they can participate in Operation Safe Stop. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments from the attendees? If hearing none, I would like to go back to our panel and ask for any ending comments that you would like to make before we sign off on this webinar. Aubrey?
Sure. I do want to announce that our grant application period is open right now, and we are accepting applications until 11:59 p.m. on May 2nd this year. So if anyone is interested in possibly applying for one of our grant programs, please feel free. I can also share that the grant announcement as well as our highway safety development guide with you, Mark, and you can share that with the individuals on the webinar today.
Great, thank you. We will do. And David?
Yes, I would just offer to all of the county leaders the membership of our association is more than willing to come to your county meetings or outreach in any way to talk about this issue, to try to raise awareness. And, again, our members are very passionate about this because this is probably one of the most, I would say, the scariest thing that our school bus drivers encounter as they're out there on the highways, a near miss. And, I kind of look at it this way. Children are just simply wanting to go to school. And the last thing that they probably think of is the fact that the issue of a car illegally passing a school bus and putting their lives in danger when they're just trying to get on and off the bus. So let's all work together to raise this awareness and try to solve this problem going forward.
Well said, and thank you. And NISAC thanks our speakers today. Aubrey Feldman is the Child Passenger Safety Program Coordinator for the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee out of the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles. David Christopher is the Executive Director of the New York Association for Pupil Transportation. And we want to thank our sponsor for today's webinar, Kate McBride with the Transportation Safety Planning and Solutions Group, for sponsoring this webinar today. We remind everyone that a recording will be made available, and the slide deck that was used today will be posted on the website later this afternoon. Again, we appreciate your time today. Have a safe day.